Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. This is Sam Prentice Makes Things Happen. I'm Sam Prentice back once again making it happen. I hope you're having a really good day today, guys. Over the last couple of months, I have been sent a number of printers. One of them was the Artillery Hornet, the Focus Odin 5, the Kwoo Tycoon, the Tronxy XY2 SE, the Losbot Workhorse, and the longer LK5 Pro. Some of those videos you would have seen on my social media, and one or two of them I have already managed to get out into the public domain about what my thoughts are on those machines, especially the longer LK5, which actually is pretty damn good. Now, when I get sent these machines, they are for review, they are for testing, they are for ultimately to be able to show people that might be wanting to buy one of these actually some of the perils and pitfalls of these 3D printers. They are given to me for free. Now, free doesn't actually mean free, because ultimately I have to work for this. I have to show there's a return on investment with all this kind of stuff. So I might get sent a printer, but then I've got to do a whole load of work around it, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not. The Hornet by Artillery, in my opinion, is not a great printer, and I had really, really high hopes for it. And I like to try and give all these companies out there the opportunity to address some of those issues and fix the issues. And unfortunately, in this particular video, Artillery have not done a fantastic job with customer service. We've not been able to get a resolution, and I've really given them ample opportunities to try and repair and fix the issues that I've had with this particular 3D printer. In fact, it's been 3 months now of trying daily to get information out of them to try and repair this or try and receive the parts, but we've got to a stalemate, and I have to put content out. So this is part of the service delivery of the channel's able to deliver. I don't like panning stuff. It's not something I set out to do, but unfortunately this printer is just trash, and it's a real shame. And you know what, I put my hands up if Artillery are able to reach out to me after this video goes out and say to me, hey, you know what, we're going to send you these parts, repair it, do another video. I'm very, very happy to do that. And I know some people are going to have really great experiences with stuff, and some people are going to have bad experiences with stuff. Unfortunately, the machine that I've received has not been good, and the support has been terrible. And I've not been able to get this. You know, I've got things to back all this up. I've got messages, I've got emails, I've got all this kind of stuff. So, you know, I don't go around making things up for the sake of making them up. It is what it is. I've had one good print out of this. So here's the structure of the video today. I've got an unboxing part, I've got first prints, and then I'm going to talk about exactly what the problems and the pitfalls are of this printer. So it is going to be timestamped below. You don't have to sit through the whole monotony of me thinking that it's a really exciting printer when the reality is it's actually not. But hey guys, you know what? Hit that subscribe button, smash us a little like, put your comments below. If you've had a good experience with this, awesome. You know, all credit to you. But this thing doesn't extrude correctly. It's poorly made. There are poor components inside of it, plastic gearing and all sorts of other kind of crazy stuff that it just hasn't worked for me. And, you know, this isn't my first hurrah. This isn't my only printer. I've got a lot of different printers here that I use daily. And, you know, go with something else. Let's get straight on into it. A new printer. This is from Artillery. This is called the Hornet. And we're going to do an unboxing video and setup video that might hopefully convince you to buy this printer at the very end. Let's see how it goes. This isn't just one of those quick unboxing videos. What I'm going to do is a pre-record of me unboxing it. Then I'm going to whack up to print on it and do some prints with it. And then we'll have a final verdict at the end. So let's get on straight away with this one. Here we go. So I don't know a huge amount about this printer. I'm kind of going to guess it's an i3 style printer that I did see way back when it first came out. And the good thing about this printer is it's cheap. It's really cheap. So let's have a look and see what we've got inside the box. Oh, this is nice. Look at that. Little handbag. Okay, this is cool. I like that. Okay, so we've got some spares in here. We've got what looks like a micro SD USB stick. We've got a couple of cable ties. We've got what looks like a switch, a nozzle, and a couple of V-slot screws. We've got the standard printer cable, and we've got a spanner, and we've got a set of Allen keys and a bunch of nuts in here. So let's move that to one side. This looks kind of nice though. I haven't had an artillery printer at all. I've never owned one, so I know very little about this printer. The glaringly obvious problem that I've got at the moment is I have been sent a European plug, but there's not much we can do about that. Let's chuck that on the floor. We do have a user manual. Here we go, Artillery Hornet installation manual. Nicely moulded spool holder here. Move this over slightly. Okay, this is interesting. This looks... Okay, so obviously this is our bowden tube. It's going to be interesting changing a blockage on this. I wonder if this whole thing needs to be replaced. And you've got your power coupling. That's really cool, actually. You've got your power couplings just inside there on both sides. So that's kind of interesting the way they've done that. I have seen quite a lot of daughter boards as of late, which have had things like Cat5 cables. So you can plug your Cat5 cables in, and they will just work for your fans and thermistor and all that kind of craziness. You can't run your heating block or anything crazy like that for it, but it's still progression, I think, within that space. You know what? This isn't too bad. It has got that feel about it, though, that's very similar to TiVo with this screen, which is just going to be a normal LCD style screen. It's not going to be colour or anything like that. In here, way down buried at the back here, and it's going to be a struggle to get it out, is the hot end. And you know what? I think I'm going to have to cut this to get it out because it's well wedged in there. No, hang on. Ah, there we go. That's quite nice. Okay. Interesting. And so here's our hot end, which looks very nice indeed. Again, that's where the other end's going to plug in. I actually quite like that design, but again, if you ever had a printer that's caused some issues and you've got a bit of a dodgy part of the bowden and you need to lock that bit off, that is going to cause some issues. So I don't quite know how we're going to solve that one if we ever do have a blockage like that, which we'd probably quite like to. So we'll wait and see on that. Okay, so the construction of the printer, it's already pre-built. We have got, let's just check a few things here because I don't want to be plugged. Oh, okay, cool. Look at that. So access to the printer underneath, we are at 230 volts. Yeah, okay, so at the back here we do have the little LCD screen here, and it looks like we've got drivers in here. Can't quite see and tell what they are at this particular point in time, and this is kind of cool. Hey, you know what? I like this a lot, actually. This is cool. I do love a new printer. So this will go into my arsenal of lots of other printers that I've been reviewing over the past year. And again, thank you very much to Artillery for sending me this. Let's get on with the construction. Okay, bolts, got that. My little handbag, I like that. Okay, so let's get some Allen keys out. Drop some stuff on the floor. Okay, let's have a quick look. Make sure that's going to fit. Yes, it is. So these are sprung mounted, it looks like, or they're certainly half screwed in, which is obviously going to make life a lot easier because you're not having to fart around finding the bolts and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it does. It's very Ender-esque, which is fine. Ender's a good printer, but it has certainly got some advancements. I do like that little handle. I like that a lot. Yeah. Smart. Yeah, I'm just trying to have a look here and see if there's anything sort of distinguishing marks or anything on it to kind of tell you a little bit more about it. That's interesting. It's interesting things they've done on this printer to make it slightly different. Again, when people talk about clones, these printers aren't always clones. They're more of an evolution. So if you were to say, hey, this is an Ender 3 clone, I'd say, well, it's an evolution. And the reason for that is that you don't have the power supply on the side. You don't have the X-axis motor mounted at the bottom. It's mounted at the top. I don't know why. We're going to find out. We are going to find out. Now, at this point, I don't even know if it's a 12 volt or if it's a 24 volt system. I can't see that on the power supply. But we will get into it and we will find out a little bit more information. But this is already pre-assembled. It's got a nice heat bed on it. It's got the yellow springs. Obviously, it's a bright yellow printer in true Hornet style. That's gone together surprisingly easy. So we have got a 24 volt power supply in here, and I'm going to assume here that it is going to be a 32-bit board. Generally now, if you're buying anything that's an 8-bit board, why are you buying anything like that? Shouldn't be buying anything like that now. Generally, if you're buying a new printer around about this price range now, you're going to want certain things. Bed leveling's nice. I don't think it's got that. I like that it's been pre-built though. You know, 99% of it's there, I'd say. And if I only got to four bolts in at the bottom, and then mess around with the hot end, that's pretty easy. Just tighten that up. Just make sure everything else is tight. Now what you used to have to do with the ender is make sure that it was square. So when you place this down, if it rocks around on a flat surface, then you're probably going to want to square it up a little bit more. Let's have a... No, that is pretty good. That is pretty good. I'm just checking that everything is straight. That looks okay. Yeah, okay, well let's start putting some stuff together then. We have got a couple of cables down here. We've got... This goes to the Z-axis and the little daughter board that's at the top there. Down in the corner here we are going to have a Z limit switch, and this is only a single Z, which is a bit of a shame because I do like that equal level when it comes together. Now this, I'm guessing, is going to be plugging into something, possibly the bed. No, the bed's got something in there already. What does he plug into? Aha, okay, behind here there is a little plug. Pop him straight in there. Now this is using, this is a nice setup, I quite like that. Ooh, okay. Just working out, so the bowden comes out here, goes to here, that mounts to that, yeah, okay. So we don't have a pair of snips in here, so how am I supposed to cut these cable ties? I don't know. That's that sorted. Brilliant. Okay, so let's just cut these off. Chuck them on the floor. Being careful, of course, not to break anything else. There's none under there, is there? No, that's running nice and smoothly. I think, yeah, that's nice. So I'm just going to check this over and just make sure everything's moving nicely and correctly. Now, how do I mount this sucker? So it's looking like 3 bolts on there. I'm guessing they're going to be the screws from here. So this is a nice easy mounting system. Here. Okay, well, that's super easy as well. Okay, so 2 more bolts in the side of these. And these machines have been out a little while now. I'm a little bit late to the game, I guess, with this. But, hey, I'm always willing to try a new printer. And if you're in the market for one of these, they look pretty good. On the flip side, they do look pretty good. I do have, actually here and here, there is a little tiny bit of damage to the plastic. And I'm assuming that kind of looks like screws that have basically knocked into the plastic on that. But hey, why would I complain about that? It's a free printer at the end of the day. And of course, with all these types of printers that I review and build and test, all opinions are my own. So, see what happens. But from what I understand, artillery, and again, this is my first artillery printer, they are pretty well known now in the industry, the Sidewinder and various other printers that they've produced. And I believe the quality is actually very good. So fair play to them, well done. If you're out there in the world making 3D printers. So obviously, number one, I do print large prints. So the bed, I guess, on this is going to be used for a variety of smaller prints, maybe like gearing and things like that. Looking at the hot end, I think we're going to get away with PLA and PETG quite easily. ABS might be a bit of a struggle, and any of the exotic filaments probably wouldn't work too well on this, but you never know. You never know. So let's take this little bit off the bed here, just like that. Cool. Right, I'll shut that in a bin. Okay, so we're going to go back to this jobby. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's plug that on in. There we are. There we go. Okay, so the other thing I've noticed as well, I don't actually have any filament with this printer. So, we better work out where we're going to put this, which I'm going to... Ta-da! Just like that. So there's a couple of things we don't have now. Of course, we don't have a power cable, and we don't have any filament for this particular printer. But before we get onto that, let's have a look at some of the specs. So it's an FDM printer of 220 by 220 by 250. Layer resolution is 100 to 300 microns. Filament is 1.75 mil. Nozzle diameter is 0.4. Runs on G-code, and its specialist material compatibility is PLA, PETG, and TPU. Product dimensions of 470 by 410 by 450. The shipping box is 560 by 500 by 255. The printer weight is 8 kilos. Shipping weight is 9.8 kilos. Power requirements 110 to 220, and it's a 350 volt, so a 350 watt power supply. Memory card, USB. I like this. I like the way it's put together. It's not naff, and it looks the part, and it looks interesting. And okay, yeah, I've got a couple of little knocks on here, which doesn't seem to have come from my use of it anyway, so whatever. So the next thing we're going to do then is we're going to try and hunt down the USB stick or the SD card, which is this glorious one here, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. We'll plug him in just like that. Now there is a screen protector on here, which, to be honest, I'll put it to leave on. Sod it. Right, next thing. I do have a UK kettle lead power supply. Woohoo! So, onwards and upwards, ladies and gentlemen. Next one. Here we go. We're going to, moment of truth now. We're going to plug it in, we're going to switch it on. Are we going to get any blue smoke? That's the question on everybody's lips, I'm sure. 3, 2, 1. We've got power. We've got marlin. Let's have a nice zoom in on this here. Okay, so let's have a little look. So I mean, we've got a very, very basic marlin here. We're going to preheat the PLA, I think. Okay, let's have a look at what else we've got here. Not a lot really. Info screen, motion, temperature, configuration. Doesn't give you a huge amount of bits to do. In particular, so print from media. What we've got a cube and we've got Hornet config, and that's it. We've got a cube. Okay, so so the start, middle, and end of this is that the bit that we've got to print is a cube. So let's have a look at some filament here. What have I got? Okay, so today the premium filament that I am going to be using is JO 3D printing filament. Look at that. This is PLA Plus 3D printing filament, 1.75 mil, 1 kilo in grey. So let's do a quick unboxing of this. Oh, what's this? Wow. 10% off, another new roll. Look at that. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you follow these guys on the Facebook group, Telegram group, or the Italian Telegram group, you get 25% off. There you go. Right, I'll leave this here. Thank you very much for Jo for sending me this. It does look very much like a Sunnu product, which has been rebadged. I use a lot of Sunnu filament as well, so hopefully we should be in a good place with this particular filament. and we'll just give that a little snip off on here, just like that. Okay, so let's load this sucker up, and oh, that's weird, mounting this thing upside down. There is a switch on the back here that potentially you would be putting your BL Touch or probe on, and I don't know if that's available on the website, but I shall certainly have a look later. Meanwhile, we're going to whip this filament back in. There is a little bit of movement, and that is on the backlash nut. Just make sure that's all nice, that's looking good. Yeah, that's cool. It's nice and tight. This is getting nice and warm now, of course. So we are going to be using the JO filament. So thank you very much to JO for supplying the grey filament that we're going to be using today. Let's get in on the print and have a look what's going to happen. First things first, we want to home this thing. The good news is that the prints have now finished. This is the test print, which is just basically the cube, which has actually come out pretty nicely. If we can get a good zoom on that, it's not too bad at all. There is a little Z seam at the back, but the quality isn't actually too bad. There's a little bit of echoing on that. You can see some of the internals on this part, but it's not actually that bad at all. So I'm going to continue with this and print some more stuff, and we'll be right back with the final review. Stay tuned. So as you saw at the beginning of the video, my kind of open and honest review on the Artillery Hornet, I feel kind of deflated, you know. It's sort of like you want something to be good and it ends up not being so good, and then you try your best to kind of work with people and it kind of blows up in your face. And here I am making a video that I don't like making, put down videos. It's not me, it's not something that gets me up and makes me think this is a really good thing to be able to be done. So bottom line here, guys, is the Artillery Hornet. I had one successful print out of this thing, and this is it. Car crash material there, friends. Now, the only print that I have managed to get out of this, as you just saw there, was this Eastman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle print, which actually is pretty damn good. I did get a little bit of lifting at the front here during the print, but I'm going to put that down to the fact that, you know, I probably had a bit of a breeze going in that room at the time. There is a little bit... you can see some of these layer lines and stuff here, so there was going to be a bit more tuning to be done, but I couldn't get past that point. So this was kind of like the first big print that I was going to do on that print bed. Then I was going to do a bunch of other stuff, and again, then we started getting this kind of... It was weird. It was like it was printing, but it was inconsistent, so you could literally grab the print and just crush it with your hand. It wasn't giving 100% of the filament out. So then I went back, I waxed Octoprint on it, I tuned it, I did the PID tuning, I stripped the hot end down, I did a whole bunch of work on it, and then I got hold of their tech support, which is a guy called Michael. Michael came back to me and said, yeah, it could be slipping on the filament, it's got a plastic gear, these are the problems that we've experienced. See what you can come up with. So I've tried and tried and tried, and I cannot for the life of me get this thing to print.
What? Oh no!
Oh yes. Well, since you're here, let's talk about some of the specs of this machine if you, for some bizarre reason, decide to buy this. So the Artillery Hornet woulda, shoulda, coulda been a strong competitor in the i3 3D printing marketplace. This is mainly due to being an improvement on the popular Ender 3 style printers that have sold in their millions. This being updated, and a good reason to buy this, if it worked, and many do of course, would be down to the price and value in said parts. For example, for £210 you get a build space of 220 by 220 by 250 with a unique Bowden setup. Let's call it an all-in-one, which does make feeding problems difficult to identify, and it is also prone to jamming. It does have a simple design and should have been a player in the market for first-time users. The glass bed and yellow exterior does make the printer look quite pretty, but my review of this of course is pretty T. There is no filament runout sensor and only one Z-rod. The other stuff like Print recovery, I've not been able to test because of the issues that I've encountered. The specs again boast printing in PLA, PETG and TPU, and I expect on a working machine that this could be done. But in 3 months, we are no further forward. I've tested, messed around with this thing. I've gone back and forth to support. I've gone back and forth to my contacts within artillery as well. And again, this is the first time that I've had one of these artillery 3D printers, and it's not great. And it might also mean that I'll never work with them again because I've put a video out that maybe they don't agree with. And I'm really comfortable with that because service delivery and support is so important, and I think a lot of companies really do forget about that when they sell products out into the open market without that dedicated support. Now, I'm sure Michael is a great guy, and I'm sure he does really well with other support, with other printers and stuff, but for me, I wouldn't go for this printer. It's not one that I would suggest. It's not one that I would want to give away. What happens with this particular printer now, I don't know. And even this morning, I have had a couple of emails back from artillery saying, look, I'm going to put this video out. I can't wait any longer. It's been 3 months now. How long, if put it this way, if you were a brand new user to the 3D printing market, this is your first ever printer, and you had the problems that I've had with this, it would probably put me off. It would probably put me off the hobby completely. And that's part and parcel to new people coming into this as the hobby for the very first time, is that I've seen it time and time again. Somebody buys a printer, they have a bad experience, and then they just go, no, get rid of it. And then they don't continue with the hobby, which is a real shame because I think people are going to be missing out. So that's it. What happens next? Well, that's open now to artillery, and I have sent an email back. They've got to understand that from my point of view, I can't sit with a 3D printer opened up, and this isn't the only printer. I've got a couple of other issues with 1 or 2 other manufacturers at the moment, but on the whole, a lot of the printers that I get sent are very good, and they do work straight out the box. And again, this is my experience. This might not be your experience, so if you do decide that you want to go and buy one of these, well, fill your boots, do what you need to do. But my opinion is that this 3D printer is not going to be one that I'm going to be suggesting. So hopefully, possibly, probably, this has maybe helped 1 or 2 of you out. There are other videos out there. Joel Telling has done a good unboxing and review of this printer as well. He does talk about some of the electronics and some of the components that have gone into it and what actually he feels that makes it a good printer. But longevity-wise, I think they're going to struggle with these bowden tubes. I think they're going to struggle with the gearing because they're plastic gears. I think they're going to wear out quite quickly. It's not one for me. It's probably not one for you. Anyway, thanks very much for watching the video. Please hit that subscribe button. And if there is a part 2 to this, I'm definitely going to post it up. I'm just definitely going to be making more content, so make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe button again. I am going to be giving away some 3D printers that actually do work, and it's a subscriber only giveaway, so you have to subscribe. That's the good reason, right? Smash that button right now, and we will see you next time. There might be a part 2 to this. I really hope there is. Artillery, I'm waiting. Let me know what we're going to do about it. I'll see you next time. Take care. All the best. Bye for now.